I don't know.
Looks good, Aaron.
Okay, good. I put the conferences in here as well, so we're ready with those.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Hi, Matt.
Good evening.
I'm going to get you on here just shortly after I open up the meeting.
Sounds good.
Good evening and welcome to the Allegheny Clarion Valley School Board Workshop meeting for September 8th, 2025. The AC Valley workshops are conducted virtually, and the link to access the workshop is always posted to the acvsd.org website. This evening will be the first time for us using the new PSBA Board Docs program. As you will see, we have a new format for our workshop and voting meeting agendas. During this workshop, like others, I will be providing the school board with information to help clarify agenda items. So please feel free to jump in and ask questions, and it's open for discussion throughout the evening. And as a friendly reminder, please keep your mics off until you're ready to speak. And at this time, Madam Secretary, could you please conduct a roll call?
Clifford Adams,
Here.
Patty Anderson, Carrie Armagost,
Here.
John Burke, Brady Fight,
Here.
Diane Page,
Here.
Jeff Powell, Eric Sunling,
Here.
and Kelly Twilliger. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we do not have anybody set up from the public to speak or to address the school board during the workshop or even the voting meeting. And we do have a number of presentations. For the workshop, we do have Matt Lentz with us. He's from EDM. And Matt's going to be talking a little bit about the services that he could provide to the school district in regards to our business office. I see John Burke has his hand up. John?
No, I just wanted to say I'm on board. I just couldn't get the on mute button off. So.
Okay, sounds good. I've seen Kelly on as well.
Yeah, I'm here. Same issue.
No problem. And before we get into Matt's presentation, we also have two other presentations for the voting meeting. The first being a solar presentation from the McClure Company, and then also Teacher of the Month, Lisa Evans. So as far as this evening goes, Matt Lentz is with us from EDM Management firm. They provide educational institutions, governments, and special entities who conform to the standards of Governmental Accounting Standards Board. They are a front runner in service public sector organizations, specifically providing financial services in the full compliance with general accepted accounting principles. Matt's going to talk a little bit about what they can provide to us, but just a quick overview as Mrs. Aaron Morrison's taken a job a little bit closer to home, and Courtney Chalmers, our current assistant business manager, is just new to the role. We're looking at doing a interim partnership. I did reach out to PASBO. They're our affiliation that we work with through the state. They do have a retired business manager that they can send down and help support us during this process. But I'm also providing you with another option as well that Matt has developed a company and can support us. Matt and his company provides training for the administration on best practices in budget development and evaluation of the prior year budget and expenditures, analysis of personnel costs, a deep dive into salary and benefits, and under the superintendent direction, help to develop the budget for the 26-27 school year. Matt's firm will also provide cost reduction and revenue enhancement strategies, both short and long term, and then also a forecast of up to a 5-year budget. And with that being said, they also provide a mentoring program. Courtney and I met with both the PASBO representative and Matt. So this time, I'll turn it over to Matt, and you could go ahead and provide a few updates.
Great, thank you. I'm going to share a few slides. So let me just slip over, request to share. And while I wait for that to be approved, here we go, great. So yeah, I'm Matt Lentz. I personally spent over 20 years as a school business manager in Pennsylvania, starting out in the western side, Pittsburgh part of the state, and working in a number of districts. And then created the firm EDM to provide kind of a comprehensive approach. We provide outsourced school business manager services. We have experience with Pennsylvania school districts, and we focus on efficiency, accountability, and compliance to make sure that you have a peace of mind that not only reaches one specific person being reliant, but an entire team. And I'll talk about that in the next slide. So we have a team that is of different experts with regards to Pennsylvania school finance. I have individuals who are accountants, who are skilled in budget development, audit preparation. Additionally, because of our structure, we're able to provide high-end administrative management services as well as basic assistance with completing reports or meeting obligations. In light of what transition is taking place in the business office, it would seem that our ability to provide varied services would suit you well because we're not only able to do those in a cost-effective manner, but to adapt. So as we would have Courtney become more and more familiar with different components of the job of business manager, we have the ability to support her and potentially pick up pieces that she's working on in her position to allow us to meet all of our deadlines in a cost-effective manner. So if we follow this kind of roadmap, so the services that we understand and we're prepared to provide would be acting as the district's business manager, mentoring the assistant business manager, providing coaching and professional development, also supporting this transition, preparing the assistant business manager to assume the business manager role, also making sure that during that transition, there's enough support that it's not too fast, but also allows everything to continue to be completed from a work product wise at the district. In particular, we also can work on various components related to payroll and accounts payable, audit preparation, budget planning, multi-year budget forecasting, grant compliance, in particular federal programs, when we get a state budget, working on any ready to learn funds, cash flow forecasting, which is very important in this time of not having a state budget and state subsidies, and finally, clearly communicating and reporting with Mr. McDavid and the board members about the progress and giving you feedback about what, from a professional standpoint, we see would be very positive implementations to improve efficiency or workflow within the business office. I think that the benefits of our team is that even as we would scale back, as long as we, have a connection and contact that we understand the state of the district, we can assist with any compliance or staffing turnover that may take place, either short or long term. We have districts that we do just payroll for or just audit prep, in addition to the business manager services. And that really makes us a partner that, you can utilize in both the immediate need as well as over the long term to stabilize your district. I established this company recognizing that there was not a significant amount of a pipeline for school business managers and school trained staff. And so we can bring that expertise in a cost-effective manner to Allegheny Clarion Valley. Wanted to talk about just a case study and, in generic terms, there was a district that we started to work with that had a significant backlog with regards to their audit preparation and payroll efficiencies. We actually were contracted by that district to improve the grant reporting and to streamline the payroll process. We had an end result that we had everything caught up on time, a reduced stress not only from a leadership standpoint, but also from employees with their payroll concerns, improved accuracies. And what we actually brought back to the district was the fact that there was one individual doing payroll. And when we looked at our time, it was about 30% reduction in the amount of hours that we identified it would be compared to a full-time position. So what that district was able to then do was to do some redistribution of work in the office, with that knowledge, to make sure that that position would be fully at capacity. And our approach really is one that, we provide transition support. We want to give you updates and make sure that we can give you any data or reports that you might need, but also collaborating with, the superintendent as well as other district leaders to make sure that you're in a good place, not only for the immediate need of the vacancy and the transition, but also for the long term as we take through the budget process. And just from our standpoint, our next steps, if we were to be selected to move forward, would be to, be on site, identify the individual for the mentorship component, as well as working on a work plan with, the assistant business manager and superintendent as far as milestones for the short term, as well as wanting to be able to, get a sense from the departing business manager, Ms. Morrison, about what could be done to, ease that transition and gain any knowledge from her before her departure.
Thank you, Matt. Do we have any questions for Matt at this time? All right, Matt. Well, you did a real good job. We appreciate you meeting with us this evening, and we'll be discussing this throughout the evening. We have a motion on the agenda, and then next Monday is our voting meeting. So I'll be in touch
Great.
with you either way.
Sounds good. Let me know if you have any questions.
Thanks. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, moving down through presentations, I'll open it up if there's any board concerns that we need to address this evening. Okay, hearing none, we'll move right into the consent agenda. And we have a number of conferences and field trips in front of me this evening. And we'll start off with the Neglected and Delinquent Youth Conference. Since we are a Title I school, this is a free conference for our staff members. There's no cost for registration or hotel fees, and is paid for through the West 2 grant. As you can see, myself, Dr. Jeffel, Julie Raybuck, Melanie Cool, and Minnie Logue had put in to attend. There's about a 2-day workshop filled full of a variety of different learning activities and collaboration. We attended that program last year and found it to be very valuable. In addition to that, we have Michelle Austin. She submitted to attend her conferences at the intermediate unit, and this is an intermediate unit 4. And just keep in mind that Michelle does all our PINS reporting, so she'll be learning any kind of new reports, monitoring updates, and educational rights and foster care. She's our McKinney-Vento point of contact, and we did have a really good presentation at the beginning of the year from her and Wendy Kinnear. They provided everybody with a lot more information, what to look for, and how we can support struggling families and students. In addition to that, we do have a request from Mr. RJ Fight, high school librarian, to attend the Power Library for librarians. And RJ submitted a conference request and outlined a number of professional development activities that he plans to participate in: access PA updates, share it, interlibrary software, middle school e-resources, Power Library science e-resources, technology needs to support the Power Library program. And then also, I was asked to attend a statewide conference. It's in Pitt Bradford, and it's developing implementation and reentry plans for youth that have either been expelled or they've left, and trying to get them back in. And that's been a struggle not only at AC Valley but across the Commonwealth. So I'm happy to participate in that, and hopefully I can bring back information that can help support some of our students that have gone through transitions. In addition to that, we have the SAP certification training put in by Ashley Clausen and Kristen Thurber. Just keep in mind that that student assistance program is in both buildings here at AC Valley, and this is a training that all staff members have to go through initially. There's refreshers, but it provides each member with the ability to identify and address barriers in student learning and success, and helps us to identify and also support mental health and related personal struggles that some of our students have. So glad to have Kristen and Ashley train. And then Peggy Plowman, she's our high school learning support teacher, but she's also our transition coordinator, and she submitted to attend her trainings for the entire year. And that's transportation substitutes for her up there. That is a requirement for the state to do the reporting, the tracking, and supporting our students. So she'll be up there reviewing indicator 13 and 14, secondary transition plans, any kind of updates from the PA community of practice, and then various transition resources. You also see Mrs. Redding, food service director. She put in for her annual training. It's down in Cranberry, and they'll be working on various new food standards and aspects on purchasing as well. And then Stephanie Best, our elementary librarian and STEM teacher, she put in to attend various trainings throughout the year as well. And she'll be going to Intermediate Unit 6 and Clarion, and not only attend the Power Library that Mr. Fite's attending, but she'll also be doing the librarian conferences up there and collaborate with others and add additional STEM resources to the library. And then Allie Atwood, she put in for the TDA training at Intermediate Unit number 6. And this specifically trains the teachers on how to support students and improve test scores. It'll help for proficiency for the PSSA exams. And then on the next page, you'll see that Mrs. Logue submitted 2 requests, one to attend the IU6 Counselor Network meetings, and the other one's the Clarion County Counselor meetings as well. And she does both of those on a yearly basis. It helps to provide her with ongoing training as well as collaboration. Are there any questions about those conferences before we move into a variety of field trip requests? Okay, just to finish off, I'm not going into great detail with them. This is our gifted program, and we have Mrs. Hartle at the end with the leadership program. But this helps to meet our gifted learners and some of the academic goals that they have. We do budget for it. Ms. Paz does a great job. So she doesn't want to be out of the classroom all the time. So she asks colleagues to help and mentor and support and lead some of these trainings. That's why, or field trips, that's why you see a variety of different teachers from the high school in there as well. So if there's no questions about the field trips or conferences, we'll jump back up into the consent agenda. Aaron? Okay, for our substitute list, we have 2 substitutes down. Erica Jack, she'll be an emergency certified teacher that we could use for day-to-day substitute work. And then also Robin Knight. Robin's been working with the district in a variety of capacities over the years, and she just recently retired and would like to stay busy. In addition to that, letter C is a homecoming dance request from student council. And you can see they'd like to use the elementary cafetorium on Saturday, October 11th from 6 to 11 for setup and tear down. And then finally, we also have the AC Valley PTO. They put in to utilize the elementary cafetorium on October 16th from 1 to 6 p.m. for the purpose of distributing fundraisers. Any questions on the consent agenda before we move into finance and purchase this evening? Okay, under letter A through G, we'll be discussing and paying the bills and hearing from Stacy Redding during the voting meeting. And we'll move right into a couple exciting agenda items that are tied into our building or campus-wide building projects. And the first being the auditorium roof. And we did go out to the state bid list. So we were able to put an RFP out, and we met with several different companies and vendors. James Best and myself have been spearheading that, and we brought Courtney in on some of those discussions. So on the top of page 4, we also have a motion down for awarding the auditorium roof bid. And we went through the 3 weeks of public advertising, and we had a rubric that we utilized, and we had 3 companies that submitted work RFPs. So we had Triangle Roofing, TMR, and Midstate. And Triangle came in at the lowest cost. Just keep in mind that we have just under $352,000 in the budget for the roof. Their low cost came in at $372,000, and their higher cost has a low smell rate, fumes for their tar that they're using. That's going to be a little bit higher, and that's going to be around $400,000. So at this time, I'm working with Dan from Garland Company, and we're trying to work with them on the bid right now to get that thing modified and see what we can cut out of that to reduce that cost. So we'll have triangle roofing and a price to be determined in front of the agenda for you on Monday the 15th. And then at the same time, we're working with Amos Rudolph. We met as a pre-construction bid meeting up in the auditorium. So we have in front of you a advertisement that's retroactively from August 20th. It has to be in 3 different publications for 3 weeks. And on Monday, the 15th, we'll be opening up all sealed bids. So that evening, we'll have in front of you a name of the contractor as well as the overall cost for the auditorium roof. And just keep
David,
in mind,
sorry,
yes,
David, I have a quick question about the roof. If
Sure.
we're changing what the requirements are for the bid package of the roof to get that cost down lower, do we have to send that back out to rebid again since we're changing what they're bidding on, or can we take that lowest bidder and take stuff out of it?
the way we discussed that with Dan from Garland is the fact that we do have the lowest bidder in place, then we can massage that bid a little bit and reduce like some of the heat tape that they had in there. They really put in a lot more than what we feel we're going to need. And some of the potential replacing of some of the materials does not look like we're going to have to need to replace it. So long answer is no, we don't have to go back out and rebid that, but we can modify that low bid.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. So just continue on with that auditorium renovation, just so that we're all aware, we have budgeted just over $1,331,000 for that auditorium. We also, if you remember, Mrs. Thurber wrote the PA Smart Grant, and we have an additional $400,000 that we'll be using in that project for STEM-related technology, electric, and so on and so forth. So we're excited to get both of those parts of our project in front of you. And while we're talking about the projects, we are starting the football field renovation on Thursday, September 11th, and the track renovation on September 22nd. So we're excited to get everything up and running. We have the ADA parking. It's probably about halfway done right now, and the Grossman Company is doing a great job up at the high school, and I really appreciate Dr. Jordan and the staff and the students to accommodate some of the construction up there. In addition to that, Mrs. Thurber had been working with Invention Land Educational Designs, and we have a quote in front of you for some of the work that needs to be done up there, some of the artistic designs, some of the STEM-related activities, and we've been working with that company throughout the grant process, and again, that is paid for through the PA Smart Grant. And then as we continue to work down through, we have the business manager contract with EDM. You heard from Matt at the beginning of the workshop, and his costs are in front of you. Just keep in mind, PASBO was $110 per hour plus hotel mileage, and this will be 105 for Matt's rate and face-to-face rate. We will be paying mileage, and then any associate work or a lot of that remote work, it'll be $80 an hour as well. And the thing that Courtney and I found interesting about Matt is not only can they help us through this year until we train Courtney, but there's also solutions that they may be able to provide to us that can help reduce cost, increase efficiency, and then also be a long-term partner if there's stuff that we can outsource to them. So that's something for us to consider on Monday the 15th. And then letter H, that's a contract for Jason Noto for contracting psychological and evaluation fees. And we've worked with Jason in the past, and our current school psych is going to be off for a period of time. So to help support our special education program, we do need somebody in there to do evaluations and reevaluations. And he has a fee structure that is similar to what we've used in the past. Depending on the needs, he'll charge us per the evaluation or per the reevaluation. And Jason's, again, worked with us in the past and comes highly recommended. I covered a lot. Are there any questions or comments about finance and purchase before we move into personnel? Okay, first off, we have a request from employee 370 to use FMLA time off they'll exhaust emergency, sick, and personal days, and then once that's over, FML will kick in, and this person is expecting to be out about 12 weeks. In addition to that, Dr. Jordan is making a recommendation to hire our current day-to-day sub, Jonathan Nelson, on a Bachelor Step 1 long-term substitute teacher position up at the high school. He's doing a fine job right now, and Dr. Jordan will continue to evaluate and work with him as the year progresses. We also have a person, Chad Carmichael, ready to fill our assistant golf coaching position, which comes at a really good time. That is a contracted rate of $640. And then as we finish off personnel, we do have a long-term substitute nurse need. We interviewed and we're making a recommendation to hire Valerie Anthony, but she actually pulled her name from the discussion late in the day today. Not exactly sure why. I think maybe just a shortness of that that leave that we have in front of you this evening. So we did interview 3 applicants, and we'll have somebody ready to go. And if not, we'll do a day-to-day sub. Moving into instructional services, we have a couple items under there for you this evening, and one item that we'd like for you to consider making an adjustment is with our school calendar, and it has to do with the Act 80 Day and our open house. When we built the calendar, we anticipated a football game to be on Friday, the October 24th, but due to the limited number of referees we have, we'd had to move several games on to Thursday night. And unfortunately, this is one of the nights and it's a conflict. So the recommendation that the administrative team has in front of you this evening is to move open house after school on Wednesday, the 22nd. The teachers will use half of Act 80 Day that evening for parent-teacher conferences and open house, and then the other half, Act 80 Day, would be the morning of October 23rd. So a slight adjustment, one that I will communicate out to the staff and the community if it's approved. But since we are moving that Act 80 Day, that's why I wanted to put the calendar in front of the school board at this time. In addition to the school calendar, you'll see for the first time that the high school plan is in front of you. This is something that Dr. Jordan had worked on. It's kind of like a subsection of the comprehensive plan that we approved. One of those unfunded mandates that we've discussed in the past. And this is the first year that it was required to be school board approved. And I would encourage you to get in and take a look at it. It's about 50 pages long and took several hours to complete. It's just analyzing our data for the PSSAs and Keystones, putting a professional development plan in place, and having the school board approved. The elementary plan was already approved. The comprehensive plan was approved, and now we're asking for the high school plan to be approved. Okay, moving down through the agenda, we have a number of policies in front of you this evening. We do have the second reading of bullying and cyberbullying, and just keep in mind that's a policy that we update each year, not only because it's good practice, but because it's part of the end of year reporting as well. So again, we don't stand for bullying or cyberbullying, and that's something that's really important here at AC Valley. Policy 803.5, that's a new policy for us, and that's a policy for the school police security officers to use the use of force and weapons on campus. And I've sat down and reviewed this policy with Officer Sittler and Officer Davensizer. They both have it in their emails. They've read it. We've reviewed it. And not only does this support them as our school police officers, it provides them with guidance on when to use force and when not to. It not only does that, but it addresses firearms, the safety of them. They do carry a firearm every day. It talks about any kind of long rifle being locked up and under lock and keys that nobody else can access. There's a piece in there that outlines tasers, and then any kind of reporting requirements. And if there's any time that they get into a physical altercation or have to draw their weapon, it outlines what exactly they can do that for. And I think it's a really good policy that will help to protect the school district here and provides guidelines for our school police officers. And just keep in mind that Officer David Sizer has been working at the district. He will be getting sworn in and get his uniform and be ready to carry a firearm on Monday, September 15th. In addition to those two policies, we have a number of policies that were shared to us from PSBA that are required updates and some changes. And the first one is policy 102, academic standards. That's a current policy that we have on file. We've had it since I've been here. And the policy is reflecting any kind of changes in state standards for the 25-26 school year. Some of the changes include new requirements for science, environment, ecology, technology, engineering standards based on grade level. And then state standards for personal finance is not going into effect until 26-27 school year. But if you recall, Dr. Jordan presented us with curriculum, and we already started that here at AC Valley because that is best practice and it's something that our students need. Policy 105 is a current policy as well, probably just as old as academic standards, and it's updated due to some recent changes in code. So according to 36 U.S. Code Section 106, Public Law 108-447, Section 111, there's been some changes and a few items that need to be addressed during the school year. And it goes on to state that our educational program needs to observe U.S. Constitution Day on or around September 17th and Citizenship Day. In addition to that, we're to educate our students on Arbor Day. That's the last Friday in April. Francis Willard Day, that's September 28th. William Penn Day, and Free Speech or Free School Day, and then Bill of Rights Week. And that's tied into the U.S. Bill of Rights. Moving on down through policy, policy 122, extracurricular activities. There's some minor language changes, one change to the definition of athletic activities, but the majority of this policy, as well as that interscholastic policy that we have as well, is to talk about the student athletes and student participants who must adhere to regular attendance, administrative expectations, and school code and policy that we have not only on campus, but also off campus if it impacts day-to-day educational programming here at the district. So those are all welcomed and recommended from PSBA. In addition, we have policy 122.1, that's non-school sponsored student groups. And non-school sponsored student groups was created to address student groups that do not fall underneath policy 122. These are programs that can use our facilities outside of the regular school hours. It doesn't mean that we have to create or support those programs, but it's just the fact that we have to consider opening up our facilities. And then policy 123 is interscholastic athletics. And again, similar to the previous two policies, this one really talks about eligibility, off-campus conduct, and then it also brings in name, image, and likeness. And if you recall, that's a provision and it's supported from PIAA. The NIL provisions allow student athletes governed by the PIAA the opportunity to benefit financially from their personal brand while maintaining their image or status through commercial endorsement, promotions, and etc. We don't have any of that here at AC Valley at this time, but it's tied into the policy and we have it in front of you this evening. And as we start to finish off with policies, policy 209.1 has been updated. And not only do we have to provide training, which we did have Tracy Daly, school nurse, provide that training on the opening in-service day, but we also have a requirement to post a type 1 diabetes fact sheet in an area that our community can access. So as we update this policy, it'll be tied into that as an attachment, and we'll be able to ensure our compliance. And then just finishing off with policy 918, that's a current policy we have, is the Title I parent and family engagement. And there's been no changes throughout that. It's just, again, good practice. I had Mr. Thurber review it today, and we have that policy ready to go for school board approval. Are there any questions or comments about policy before we move into transportation? Okay, at this time, I'll be turning it over to Mrs. Sherman and Ms. Courtney Chalmers to talk about transportation.
Good evening, everyone. This is Lori Sherman. I'm going to start us off tonight going down through the agenda. This new setup is a little bit different than that old one. So the first several are extracurricular contracts that Aaron will scroll down through. There were no changes to the extracurricular contract language. The extracurricular rate is for a bus is $2.56 per mile with a $12 per hour wait time paid from the get-go. There's no free wait time any longer. And there is a $125 minimum on extracurricular runs. If it's a van making the extracurricular run, they receive their $1.75 per mile rate in addition to the $12 per hour wait time. So all of those extracurricular contracts are under those terms. Then the next contract, I believe, is the Career Center. Yes, the next one is the Career Center. And again, no changes to that one. It is a different type of contract than our regular bus runs because it does not go by the state formula. It is a per day rate that was set through bidding. And currently Stan Bailey runs that route for us through his contracting, and it's $155 per day run that he runs. So if they go to the Career Center, he is paid $155. If they do not go to the Career Center that day or don't have school or something, then they don't get paid. We currently run a van to the Career Center as well, and it is the same thing. They get the $1.75 per mile to run to the Career Center and back on days that they run, and on days that they don't, there is no pay. And then I believe next is the regular bus contracts. Aaron, scroll up there. Yes, so we have 9 buses that are running this year. And the normal change to the bus contract every year is the cost index that we put in the formula. This year's cost index is 7.433. And then the other change that we had to make to the bus contracts was to figure out how to put in there about the remote learning days. And it was decided by the board to pay the contractors 60% of their total daily rate on days that we run remote learning. So the math of that we could do easily, but we had to figure out how to word it. And Zach Shekel weighed in on that. And just for your information, on the third page on number 3, where it says the board shall pay the contractor the sum of, and then we have their yearly amount based on the number of days. Typically that number of days is all of the days they will be running. But this year, Courtney put in, instead of 176, which is how many school days there will be because of the Act 80 days, she did it with 173, allowing for those 3 remote days. So we figured out their salaries based on 173 days, and then figured out their daily rate from there. If we do not use the remote learning days, they would just get paid the full amount of the daily rate for each of those 3 days at the end of the year. If we do use 1, 2, or 3 of those days, they would get 60% of that daily rate also at the end of the year. So the way that Zach worded that was subject that their daily rate and salary was subject to any reductions for remote learning days as provided for herein. The board has approved up to 3 remote learning days per school year. In the event students are not transported because the district is on a remote learning day, the contractor shall receive 60% of their total day rate, and then listing what that amount would be, the 60% rate per remote learning day. So we have to figure out that amount as well, and just a new piece in the contracts. So other than that, there was no changes to the rest of the way that we do the contracts for the buses. Any questions about that piece, since that was the biggest change? Okay, and then the last ones should be the vans. Aaron scrolls up there. And the van rate we had decided back in the late winter, early spring was going to be $1.75 per mile this year. So that is the biggest change in the van contracts, just their daily rate. Other than that, everything else in their contracts also remains the same. They are paid per day mileage at that $1.75 per mile rate. And I just want to add, Courtney did an excellent job. She did all of the math and ran all of the contract pages, and then I went through and double checked them and went over them with her. And she was pretty much flawless. So kudos to Courtney for a great job done on these contracts. And unless there's any questions, that's all I have.
Good job,
Thank you,
Courtney.
Liz. We appreciate that. Thank you, Courtney, too. Okay, we're finishing off this evening. I'll open it back up. Are there any questions or comments or any requests before the voting meeting on the 15th with the agenda that's presented in front of you this evening? If not, we'll go ahead and adjourn the workshop, and I hope everybody has a great day, and we'll see you in 1 week.